We are here because so many of us lost the people we love most in the world, because so many of us have suffered from the disease, and because so often those who died weren't given the choices and care they deserved. My sister was one. I promised my sister that I would do everything I could to end breast cancer. We are here because we all are fulfilling the promise I made to my sister. That's no longer just my promise. It's a promise around the world, and we will fulfill our promise. I'm proud to say that almost every significant advance in the science of breast cancer was touched or funded by a Susan G. Komen grant.
The earliest documented cases of breast cancer appear in the Edwin Smith Papyrus, one of several existing papyri that detail ancient Egyptian medical practices. In the case of hard, cold tumors deep within the breast, the scroll states simply, "There is no treatment." However, mainly because of the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation, this is no longer true. By the 18th century, scientists agreed that breast cancer was a localized disease and that surgery was the only cure. The mastectomy, in fact, set two principles of the practice of medicine. The first principle, primum susurrere, means first hasten to help. The second, primum non nocere, means first do no harm. Furthermore, before the time of anesthesia, before any concept of antiseptics or any reliable method for determining the difference between benign and malignant tumors, most women who underwent mastectomies died, either from the surgery itself or from rapidly raging infection. However, the treatment for breast cancer has come a long way since these times. The Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation was established on July 22, 1982 in Dallas, Texas. Nancy Brinker's sister Susie was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 33 years old. Before she died at the age of 36, Nancy promised her that she would cure breast cancer. The foundation was created by Nancy in Susie's honor.
Susan G. Komen for the Cure, and I'm very proud to say, is the global leader in the fight against breast cancer, and we take that responsibility very seriously. We have invested almost $1 billion in this cause. There is hardly an advance, in fact, I don't know of an advance in the science or clinical care of breast cancer that has not been touched at some time in its history by a Susan G. Komen grant. We are committed to eradicating this disease. It starts in the funding of the research and ends in the delivery of care and through end-of-life issues. We are the largest funder of breast cancer research other than the U.S. government. And that is a very exciting and powerful place to be. And we know that, and we want to exercise this leadership with great care and great caution. When I look at this 25-year benchmark, and it is a benchmark, we are now bearing the fruit of the seeds we planted in the research community and the ideas we generated in the communities, so that grants that we funded 25 years ago are now bearing fruit. They are now being translated into the best kind of clinical care. And now it's up to us to make sure that everyone, every culture has access. We know solving this problem is not just funding research. That's a part of it. But it is translating what we learn in research into communities, into diverse cultures in this country, and then beyond our borders, into the deepest and darkest pockets of the world. And that's what Susan G. Komen for the Cure is focused on. That's where we are going. That's who we are.
Before the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation was established, those affected with breast cancer in many third world countries with bad economic conditions were not exposed to the movement to cure breast cancer. They did not receive the education or treatment needed to prevent numerous deaths. However, the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation has globalized the breast cancer movement. Nancy Brinker stated,
"In one woman's corner of the world, there are no statistics, never mind screening or even the possibility of treatment. Breast cancer comes and goes unnoted, misunderstood, taking thousands of lives with it, one woman at a time."
However, with the help of her foundation, women in every corner of the globe have been able to become more educated about breast cancer. The approaches to diagnosing and treating breast cancer vary tremendously from one place to another. Beliefs about the disease change based on culture, healthcare system, and financial circumstances. So, The Susan G. Komen Foundation is working with local nonprofit organizations and communities to implement programs that will increase awareness, education, screening, and quality access to care. Through local grants, the organization strengthens organizations and networks and replaces successful programs on a larger scale. The Komen Foundation has awarded more than $31 million for international community education and outreach programs. Therefore, as a result of the Foundation's international community health grants, less fortunate communities have been able to receive money and education they did not originally have. Nancy Brinker reflects on the global outreach of the Foundation by saying, "As we expand our global reach, cultural biases throw out as many roadblocks as scientific conundrums, but there are times, scientific collaborations, support to functions, social gatherings, when we are able to sweep all that aside, if only for a moment, to illuminate our reason for being. It never happens as quickly or easily as we'd all love it for it to happen, but every once in a while, crossing one bridge to build another, we hold hands and allow ourselves to speak the diplomatic language of light." Many people in the U.S. are also facing financial burdens. Susan G. Komen's affiliate community health grants have been able to provide the needed care for these people. In order to help the people who need breast cancer treatment, screening, and education, more than 75,000 volunteers for the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation have helped more than 18,000 communities across the U.S. by awarding more than $93 million in need-based grants. The foundation also invests millions more each year in promising research. In addition, the Susan G. Komen Foundation provides funding to programs that help people with financial burdens, such as the cost of medication and transportation to and from the treatment. This funding bridges the gap for medically underserved people actively undergoing breast cancer treatment. This funding was not as readily available to those types of people before the Susan G. Komen Foundation was established.
In 1983, the first Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure was held in Dallas, Texas, with 800 participants. It was not until 1998 that the first Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure outside of the U.S. occurred in Costa Rica. By this time, the Foundation's well-known Race for the Cure was the largest registered 5K in the world. Each participant in the race must raise at least $2,300 in order to participate. This fundraising alone has contributed tremendously to breast cancer research and treatment developments. In 1989, the Susan G. Komen National Toll-Free Breast Cancer Helpline was established along with the first local chapter or affiliate in San Francisco. This helpline provides free professional support to anyone with breast cancer questions or concerns. Before this was established, there did not exist a national helpline for people with breast cancer concerns. In 1990, Susan G. Komen affiliates awarded the first community grants for education, screening, and treatment projects. Later, in 1991, Susan G. Komen reached $1 million in research project grants in a single year. This money helps researchers become closer and closer to a cure for breast cancer every day. In 1997, Susan G. Komen launched the first website solely dedicated to breast health and breast cancer information. This website provides a large amount of information and answers any questions someone might have about breast cancer. By 2004, with affiliate networks, corporate partners, and generous donors, Susan G. Komen for the Cure had raised $750 million for the fight against breast cancer.
The real change came when Susan G. Komen was created. There was no breast cancer organization. There was no voice for women. No one had the voice of breast cancer patients. And in those days, things were very different. The 5-year survival rate for very early disease was 74%, whereas today it's almost 98%. There's so much that people talk about and are aware, and this awareness really has increased people's survival rate with the disease. That isn't to say we're where we need to be, but it's to say that people are aware and they are now educating and doing what they can.
The Susan G. Komen investments go far beyond what has already been explained. In 1992, the Foundation played a key role in the passage of the Mammography Quality Standards Act, and in 2001, the FDA finally approved the first digital mammography devices. In addition, Komen and its affiliates support community programs to improve access to mammography and other early detection services, as well as educational efforts and information to increase awareness of the importance of breast cancer screening. The Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation has funded research that has helped people to understand a technique called ultrasound tomography, which uses sound waves to create three-dimensional images. This type of imaging is more effective at detecting breast cancer than mammography. Also, thanks to fundraising and research by the Susan G. Komen for the Cure Foundation, a simple blood test that looks for the presence of a unique set of proteins may soon be used to detect breast cancer in its earliest stages when it is most treatable. Additionally, we have learned that MRI is more effective at detecting breast cancer in women at high risk for developing the disease, such as those with high genetic risk or who have received prior radiation therapy. The Susan G. Komen Foundation has invested more than $33 million in over 115 grants to find better technologies and tests for breast cancer screening, as well as educational strategies to increase the number of women who participate in these screenings. Komen-funded researchers are developing new imaging technologies, including the previously mentioned ultrasound, that provide better three-dimensional images and are more effective and comfortable than mammography. The foundation has developed detection methods that combine imaging and biomarkers to better detect breast cancer in high-risk women. They are also identifying whether genetic differences, known as biomarkers, can be detected in tissue or blood and used to create screening tests for breast cancer. Finally, these researchers are working to understand how different risk factors, such as breast density, can affect the accuracy of different screening technologies. Clearly, the Susan G. Komen Foundation has caused much transformation in the globalization, education, treatment, and early detection of breast cancer. All the fundraising, research, and efforts of the organization have changed the breast cancer movement forever.